You know that feeling when you're coding? You write a little something, you save the file, you flip over to your terminal, you run it, and you get an error. So you start the whole cycle all over again. It feels less like creativity and more like, well, paperwork. But what if you could skip all that? What if you could just talk to your code? Let's dive into that.
So, over on the left, that's the world most of us live in. That familiar, and let's be honest, sometimes frustrating dance between different applications. But look at the right. Now that's a different story. The REPL workflow is just so simple. You type, and you get a result. Instantly. No files, no saving, just a direct conversation with the JavaScript engine.
This really points to a much bigger idea, doesn't it? It's not just about a quicker workflow, it's about changing our entire approach. What if, instead of sending these formal, written requests through files, we could have a live back-and-forth chat with our programming environment?
Well, that what if actually has a name. It's called the REPL, and that's an acronym that stands for Read, Evaluate, Print, and Loop. You can basically think of it as Node.js's built-in conversation mode. It's like having a direct hotline to the V8 engine, the same powerhouse that runs everything from Chrome to your servers.
So how does this whole conversation actually work? Well, it's a really simple 4-step loop that just keeps going. First, it reads whatever you type. It's listening. Then it evaluates that input. It, thinks about what you just said. Next, it prints the result right back to you. That's its response. And finally, it loops right back to the beginning, waiting for you to say something else. Simple as that.
Okay, so that's the theory. But what does this conversation actually look like in practice? Well, you can start with something super simple, like a basic calculation. You type 2 plus 2, hit enter, and boom, you get 4. The feedback is absolutely immediate. Honestly, it's faster than opening up the calculator app on your computer.
All right, let's try something a little more interesting. Say you want to test out a string method real quick. Normally, you'd probably have to create a whole new file just for this one line, write the code, save it, run it, you know the drill. But in the REPL, you just type it. You can chain a bunch of methods together and see if your logic actually works, right then and there. This is rapid prototyping in its absolute purest form.
The REPL is also kind of like your own personal coding laboratory. Let's say a new JavaScript feature like toReversed comes out. How does it work? Does it change the original array? Instead of digging through documentation, you can just ask it. You get your answer in seconds, no setup needed. It's literally experimentation at the speed of thought.
And really, this all comes down to pure efficiency. You're not juggling a code editor and a terminal window anymore. Your entire feedback loop, the whole conversation, is happening in one single place. It keeps you focused and totally in the flow.
So, this instant feedback loop, it unlocks some seriously powerful ways of working. It's absolutely perfect for quickly prototyping ideas, for learning new syntax without any real consequences, for debugging tiny little snippets of code before you stick them in your main app, and for exploring APIs on the fly.
And get this, the conversation can even have a memory. The REPL has this fantastic little feature that really leans into this whole metaphor. The underscore character, underscore, always holds the result of the very last thing you did. So you can do a calculation and then immediately use that result in your next one. It's just like saying, hey, take that thing we were just talking about and do this with it. So cool. Now, it's really important to know when to have this kind of conversation. The REPL is your absolute go-to for learning, for prototyping, and for those super quick tests. But when you're building out complex applications, or you need version control, or you're writing production code, yeah, you're going to want the structure and all the features of a proper file-based IDE. It's all about using the right tool for the right job.
You know, when you put this all together, you start to realize the REPL is way more than just a utility. It actually encourages a totally different mindset, a way of thinking that really values immediate feedback, that champions exploration, and that fosters a much more fluid conversational relationship with your code.
So what do you think? Are you ready to stop filing paperwork and start having a real conversation with your code? Because the dialogue is just waiting for you. All you have to do is open your terminal, type Node, and see what it has to say,